Good morning, Southern California, AM 1220 KHTS. Joe's Fred Arnold on the Santa Clarita Valley Chamber of Commerce Business Spotlight. Patty Handy. Patty Handy's my co-host today.
Thank you.
And you have an amazing guest, someone who's very involved in the community, very involved in all realtor things in this valley. Grew up as a daughter of a real estate agent.
Yep, born and raised here.
Yes,
This is my
and
town.
passionate about horseback riding and all equestrian. So
Yes.
Rodeo.
yeah,
Yep, that's my therapy.
Welcome to the show. So Patty.
Yes, thank you. I'm so happy you're here.
Thanks.
And thanks for having me here, Fred. I just really, truly respect what you do and how you work with clients, and you play an advocate, a coach, a counselor, and I think that's just fantastic. So I know a lot of what you do is work with first-time home buyers. So
Yes.
let's talk about your kind of guidance and your counseling with a first-time home buyer if they're on the fence, if they're renting and on the fence about purchasing. How do you get them off that fence?
Yeah, and I think, it's getting them with the right lending professional, such as yourself, to really discuss with them, because what ends up happening with first-time home buyers is when they start to talk to a lender, then they come to realize that they're paying more money for their mortgage than maybe what they're paying in rent, because some people will undercut the rental rates and values within our community. And I'm not the dollars person, I'm not the money person, but it's getting them to realize that over time, between the interest deduction, between the property taxes, it's almost as if that few $100s more is like a savings account, because then they're getting that off of their taxes. So they're not able to realize, they just hear a number, but they're not sometimes maybe not with the right professional who can sit down and show them the whole big picture and say, well, wait a minute, between all of your deductions, between the lender and the CPA, that, yeah, you're going to be paying a little bit more in mortgage, but you're gaining so much more on the other end of the spectrum. And I think that's where the first-time home buyers sit on the fence with that.
Yeah.
Is exactly the reason why.
Yeah.
And nothing more than that. It's that this number is so much larger, but yet they're gaining so much more and not really able to see that whole big picture.
Well, one of the things that Patty advises clients on all the time is adding in how much in principal you're paying down every month with rates as low as they are. I mean, Patty, you see that all the time.
Right. Yeah, showing them the numbers, like you said, with the lower interest rate, that money goes towards principal, not towards the interest. The other thing that I show clients is that if they go back to their employer and they now have this deduction, they can claim more dependents. So their net check is larger, because they think, oh, my net check is only this much. Well, that's because you've been only claiming one, and your net check is, you're getting hit with taxes. So you go to your CPA, you do the math. Okay, I'm going to have this deduction at the end of the year. What can I play with as far as that goes? So your net check is bigger. So the cash flow, honestly, really isn't felt as much as they feel like it's going to be felt.
Right.
The other piece of it is the home appreciation. Mm-hmm. You've seen this valley, and what are they saying this year? 6% appreciation is what we're expecting?
It's been incredible what we've seen and the appreciation. And I think a lot of times too, it's investment-wise. When I'm with first-time home buyers, usually because that's their starting place, I also like to try to help them and maybe advise them in where they're going to look at what would that make a good rental. Some of them are single, so if you end up getting married and you're going to move up to a house, could you keep this as a rental? Could you start a portfolio for yourself of, I wholeheartedly believe that real estate is your best investment over stocks and everything else, and own as much of it as you can. So sometimes I like looking at that end of it too, where I can say, oh, this would also make a great rental, and then you could move up into a house if you save enough money, and if you can hold on to both, then why not?
Yeah, and with our 30-year fixed rates right now, it's a fantastic idea.
It is.
Sets you up with a rental property. Your cash flow later is going to be nice. So that's huge. So let's shift gears a little bit. Let's talk about sellers when they come to you and they're looking at selling their home. What are some of the things that you guide clients with as to getting prepared, the house prepared, just getting themselves on the market?
I usually do a walk of the house, and there's so many sellers who think that they instantly need to go in and paint and carpet and do everything to get the house to show like a model home or to show perfectly, because the carpet might be tagged in some way or not look very, very nice. But usually it's letting them know if something is worth doing that, because unfortunately, you're maxed out on value sometimes. And here in Santa Clarita, we go by tract codes. So you're kind of within your little box of your tract, unless your home is so outrageously upgraded that we can maybe go to some of the surrounding areas. So sometimes you're kind of maxed out in what your value is. And is it really worth doing the paint, doing the carpet, because you might not get that back out. Besides the fact that you might paint it beige and a buyer wants it green. So they're going to come in and repaint it anyways, where you can either come off of your price a little bit with that, or just use it as a bargaining tactic and know that a buyer might come in asking for closing costs to be paid so that they can do the repairs themselves, or they might just come down off of the price of the home. So you have to look at all of those different variables, because that's kind of the one unique situation about Santa Clarita, is that we all go by tract codes. So you're kind of just within this little box, and that's it. You're not going off of a big general area of what's around you necessarily. Appraisers do. So it really just depends on what area you're in. And I look at that. I not only look at the values within the tract itself, but then I go within all of Santa Clarita and just kind of see where your placement is, because could you be 3 houses above? Could we maybe list it a little bit higher? So there's a lot of different variables that I go into when doing that. And I think as a seller going into it, I think you should interview several agents, just because someone sold the neighbor's house. Yes, they may be capable to do that, but I think a lot also is off of personality. This is big, and some people don't treat it that way, but you have disclosures, and as a seller, you're taking on the most liability, because you have to make sure you disclose properly everything to the buyer. And so you really want someone that personality-wise you get along, and also that you feel that they're going to look out for your best interest and protect you.
We have to jump to a quick break, but would you stay for one more segment? Because I want to talk about the contracts, because I know that Patty is really good when it comes to that part of the application, if you will.
Okay.
But yeah, we're gonna jump to a quick break, and we'll be right back. You're listening to AM 1220 KHTS. Good morning, Southern California, AM 1220 KHTS. Host Fred Arnold on the Santa Clarita Valley Chamber of Commerce Business Spotlight. I'm joined by mortgage professional Patty Handy with American Family Funding.
Hello.
And Erika Kauzlarich with REMAX of Santa Clarita. Let's talk about the contract. I want to talk about the contract when it comes to real estate, because you're a mortgage professional that understands the mortgage side, and you have to read the contract that the real estate professional provides. Let's talk about contingencies. Some of the contingencies are on our loan contingency.
Yeah, you have time frames to adhere to, and actually I sit on the board of directors for the California Association of Realtors, and we have the new TRID law and everything going on. So we have longer escrows, but yet they kept the contingency timeframes all the same. So you've got 17 days on your loan, and it's really all the way across the board for your inspections and everything. But sometimes with the new TRID and the disclosure law, sometimes it makes it hard to be able to meet those. You've got 17 and 21 days for your
So let's talk about real quickly a loan contingency. What does that mean?
You have 21 days to get loan approval, but it's not full final loan approval. There are some agents that don't like their clients to remove their contingencies until it's completely been signed off by the underwriter, but that's really a misconception. So it's based on, contingency removal is based on the fact that the underwriter has seen everything with the loan package and that they are able to get a loan. It's, of course, as you know, it goes through your processing process, and the underwriter will sign off and then go, oh, we need a few more pieces of paper. Well,
right.
Those conditions, unless there's something major that someone would say, oh, this poses a red flag, then there should be no reason why a buyer can't remove their loan contingency.
Patty,
Right.
Why is it important because of TRID to get everything up front quick?
Yeah, the TRID is really interesting, and I encourage agents to have the clients meet with us even before they're making offers, but just starting to shop, because we can then do what's called a TBD, to be determined, which allows us to do a full underwriting for a certain dollar amount, and we have that contingent, that gone, which is nice. It's almost like a cash buyer then at that point. But we go through all the income, we go through all the credit, we go through all the issues. A lot of times we find things on credit reports that the clients didn't know about.
Right.
So any of those surprises are just eliminated if we do this TBD. So we definitely encourage them to meet with us even before they go shopping, and get that contingency, removed early on. And that also helps with that 17-day contingency, because we have that really dialed in. And then we go back with the actual property to the underwriter, and it's really quick. And the conditions are eliminated, or a lot of them are eliminated, which makes it so much easier for the whole issue. We have to also have the loan estimate and the loan fully disclosed.
Right.
And then that starts the clock ticking. So there's all these little loopy loops that happen with the whole TRID, and those are things that we like to just nail early, get rid of early.
Well, and I think that a lot of people don't realize you have weekends in there, and there's processors and underwriters that don't work on the weekends. So
Holidays.
21 days,
Yeah.
holidays,
yeah.
21 days can come quickly.
Right.
That's one thing. And sometimes you have sellers and agents who will sometimes shorten that time frame. But I think the biggest thing is the realization of getting your letter of intent signed and moving forward, because there's, the days that eat away before you can order an appraisal and
Right.
and move forward with all of that. And I think it's having the right team behind you. So when you know that, whether it's the listing agent or that, like me representing a buyer, that I'm going to make sure that the right people are in place and that I'm on top of, because you need
Everything.
numbers from the escrow officer. So if you have an
Right.
escrow officer that isn't going to get those numbers right away from title and escrow so that you can disclose properly, it just creates nothing but headaches at the end. So you of course want someone representing you who knows and realizes everything that needs to be done. And I don't like to micromanage, but sometimes you have to, and it depends on who's on the other side and who you have as far as your team of your escrow officer and everyone involved, so that you can make sure everything gets to the lender. To me, that's the most important process. I think everything else you can work through between home inspections and all of that, I think
Yeah.
can easily be worked through. But when it comes to the lending side, you have to have someone who's really on top of the game with it.
It's definitely I always say it takes a village. It's definitely a team effort. And like you said, the escrow, if I can get fees from escrow, day one, I can disclose, and we're off and running.
Right.
If escrow's dragging their feet, or it's taking us a couple of days, everything is like it's a domino.
Right, you've already lost 7 days.
So I'm
You've
always on
already
the
lost.
agent.
Especially when the
7
contract's
days.
signed on Friday afternoon.
Right.
Right.
And you're already starting 3 days late.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're starting on Monday. Yeah, your time frames.
Yeah.
Your time frame started
Yeah.
the day that you signed that contract. So
Right.
yeah, it really does eat away at the days.
And a lot of the
Really
buyers and a lot of some of the agents don't understand TRID, and
Right.
of course the buyers wouldn't have any reason to. But I have dealt with some agents out of the area that when I mention TRID, they're like, "What's TRID?" And I'm like, "Oh dear,
Oh boy.
oh
Right.
dear, we're in trouble."
So as a bottom line, as a buyer, make sure you go to someone like Erika,
understands.
it, and someone like Patty who can explain it.
Right.
I mean, that's just
Absolutely.
the consciousness. Have a
Right.
level of consciousness and the urgency of getting it done. We're all out of time, ladies,
Wow, that went by fast.
wasn't it?
That was fast.
Yeah, yeah.
So much more to say.
Lots
Exactly.
of fun. All right, we go all day.
We could
We can. Erika, those who want to reach out to you at REMAX.
I can be reached at 661-259-HOME, HOME.
Love that.
Yeah.
And
Nice.
email?
Erika Bird at Outlook.com. So it's ErikaBird@Outlook.com.
Awesome.
Patty.
My simplest thing is go to my website. It says Patty Handy, Patty with an I, handy with a Y.com. And there's my email, my numbers, all my information there.
Patty with an I.
Patty with an I, handy with a Y.
Patty.
Very cute.
It's a little song.
Like it. Love it, love it, love it. Well, thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Yep. Hope you enjoyed this information from AM 1220 KHTS and the Santa Clarita Valley Chamber of Commerce Business Spotlight. There's host Fred Arnold on AM 1220 KHTS.